Hello and welcome to the High Note Podcast. I am your host, Sean Smith, and I am back from the Philadelphia Folk Festival. I think the last time that we spoke, everybody, I was getting ready to go and had a great time, as always. I think that the 61st annual Philadelphia Folk Festival really left it all out there on the field, as it were, because I think that everybody who was involved with it, from Kimberly Sinclair, who I got to interview before the festival, to all the volunteers who made it happen, because it is a volunteer-run organization, did a tremendous job of bringing back this beloved festival and really making it. They brought back all the things that we loved from the old festival and, a couple little improvements here and there. And all in all, I think it was a great weekend. Even the weather was good, which is always a holdout. So my blog about the festival is online, so you can check that out at highnoteblog.com. That's where you can see New Music Friday and all of the blogs, as well as all the podcasts from the last few years are all up there. So this podcast is all about Shanna In A Dress. So Shanna I met on Thursday night, which was pretty cool. I meet these artists various ways, right? I mean, there's no set formula on how somebody becomes a podcast guest. Usually they become an acquaintance or a friend first, to be honest with you, and Shanna was no different. So I got a chance to meet Shanna on Thursday night right before she went on stage, which was pretty interesting because she was working on her set list for that show. And that was something that I've never really talked to an artist before their show like that, and especially like while she's working on her set list. So that was pretty cool because I was standing side stage. We were both kind of standing there watching Miss Emily, who was opening up the Thursday night show. Then Shanna In A Dress played, and then Adam Ezra group played, and then Miss Emily and Shanna both joined Adam Ezra on stage, which was pretty awesome for a couple of songs. But you can read all about that at highnoteblog.com, and you can also see the photos from the festival on there too. So Shanna and I talk about that so I met her the next day on Friday, and we got a chance to talk about that set list, about how she approaches her set list and about her show or her set from Thursday night, because she performed all weekend. But that first performance kind of kicked things off for the both of us, her as a performer and me as a reporter covering the festival, and kind of set the tone for the weekend in a really good way. And I thought it was really cool, and I thought that the audience definitely resonated with her, because she's not just a singer-songwriter, she's more of a performer, right? She brings this storyteller mentality to the stage where it's not just about song after song. It's really about setting up the songs, talking about, remarking on what's happening in the crowd and what's happening with the audience and the festival overall while she's on stage, and also giving people some backstory about her, which is really amazing, especially because she's done some really cool things. I think one of the coolest things, and we talk a little bit about this in the podcast, is that she did a tour de dress. So she did a bike tour while performing more than 60 shows while she bicycled from Seattle to Boston. So I thought that was absolutely amazing. And also, I really liked her songs. She performed quite a few songs from her newest album, Robot, which you can get anywhere. And we talk a little bit about her songwriting process too, and dive into a few of her songs that I really liked from Thursday night. But honestly, I think that Shanna is an amazing singer-songwriter, and not, as I said before, she's a performer in a really cool way, and has an amazing way of telling these stories. So you can check her out at shannainadress.com. If you're on the East Coast, she is going to be performing up and down the East Coast, and then down through Texas. She's going to be performing at the Black Bear Music Festival in Goshen, Connecticut. So that'll be upcoming here in September, and then throughout it looks like that's in October rather, and then throughout the East Coast down, and then she's going to Texas and Kansas. So check all of that out at shannainadress.com, and she is everywhere on social media at Shanna In A Dress. So without further ado, here is my conversation and the first of a few interviews from the Philadelphia Folk Festival, but I saved the best for first. This is my interview with Shanna In A Dress. Shanna In A Dress, welcome to the High Note Podcast.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, you seem amazing.
Yeah, I really love my life.
Oh, good. That helps.
I know.
That helps with living.
It does. It really does.
So you're here at the Philadelphia Folk Festival, the 61st annual. How's it going for you so far?
I love it. It's my first time here, and I got to start with a bang. I really thought I was doing Writers in the Round shows for all of the sets, so getting a full set last night was a treat, and it was just, I felt so connected with the crowd and the vibe here. Like, I never know, because people have asked things like, can Shanna do a family-friendly set? And I'm like, I think what I do is family-friendly. Depends what you think, what kind of family. And it just seemed like everyone was on my side, and it was just like a perfect way to start a festival.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Thursday night concerts are legendary for, bringing up up-and-coming people and people who, bring a lot of energy. And you definitely brought the energy yesterday.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah. So where are you from?
I live in Nashville. I grew up in Northern Virginia. I biked across the U.S. and thought Boulder was like the best part of the United States. So I moved to Boulder.
Cool.
For 8 years. And then I biked back and did this epic musical bike tour from the West Coast to the East Coast, and decided to move to Nashville after that.
Oh, that's great. How do you like it down in Nashville?
It's so creative, so friendly. I love it, and I'm moving.
Oh, where are you moving to?
I'm moving to St. Louis.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Why? What sparked the change?
A dog sitting gig.
Got it. Awesome. I love dogs.
Me too.
What kind of dog is
It's
it?
a beagle.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Nice. What's this dog's name?
Forest.
Forest the Beagle.
Mhm.
Wow. That's a very lucky dog.
I know. And I'm a very lucky dog sitter because he's the cutest.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So your first time here, Thursday night concert, did you have a chance to walk up into the campground, or what are your impressions of the festival so far?
Ooh, that it's big. Like, I was just at Rocky Mountain Folks Fest a week ago, and I'm so familiar with that. So this just feels like novelty. Like, I saw all the hammocks and the kids area, and there's a bunch of different stages, and it's big, and the history of it is just phenomenal, how long it's been going on.
Yeah, 61 years. It's kind of amazing.
It is amazing. I asked the crowd last night, who's been coming for more than 40 years or whatever, and everyone cheered so loud, and I convinced them all of lying. It's just fun that this has been a staple for so many people.
Yeah.
And now I get to see the world. Like, oh, I got invited into your world. Thank you.
Yeah, now you're here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, so you got to share the stage at the end with Miss Emily and also with
Adam Ezra group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Adam had mentioned that you had played before. How do you know those guys?
Mhm. I love it. We were connected by a fan who likes us both, so we've done a few other shows together. I think we have another one coming up in a week or two also. But I'm just in awe of them. I love what they do and who they are in the world and the community they build everywhere. So they really, really inspire me. They make me want to have a band. I always think, I don't really want a band. That's a lot of logistics. That's a lot of just administrative tasks are not my forte. So having to balance 4 people instead of 1 seems hard. But then I see their show and I'm just go, oh, I wish I had a band.
Well, you had a pretty big band for at least one of the songs there. When all the kids came up on stage.
Oh, yeah. That was so cute.
Yeah. Now, was that rehearsed? Had you had performed those songs with, what songs were they again?
We did Cecilia.
Oh, yes.
You know, and then I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah, it was fun. Adam is just a jukebox full of covers that he can whip out the perfect ones, I feel like.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You had also mentioned yesterday that you have a new album coming out.
Yeah, I do. Cool. It's called Sweet Spot, and I'm really excited about it because in everything that all the hats you have to wear in an indie music career, recording is my least favorite. And some people love it, but for me, it's just, I write so many songs that choosing which ones to go on the album feels like, which of my children should I cast aside? Like, I don't know. And then the detail-orientedness of it is just really challenging for me to like listen to mixes and create decisions that will be set in stone. Like, that's why I love live performance. Like, the spontaneity of changing up the melody and all those things is so fun to me. And so because it feels like such a like heavy final decision type of constraint, I have generally procrastinated on it a lot. And for this album, I just decided to like really embrace the imperfectly done like mentality. And I went in to see my producer. His name's Sean Byrne. He's super talented. And I was like, I don't even know which songs I want. And, he's like, well, do you have options? and I just let like my intuition in the moment on one particular day decide my set list for the album. And it includes really random songs that I was like, I don't know why this one's dropping in from the ether, but it's dropping in, so maybe it should be recorded. And the just taking off of the, like, I have to choose the right songs. I have to have this many songs that aren't in this key that range from this tempo to this tempo. All of those decisions I just threw out the window, and I sat in the chair and was like, the song Jenga just is coming to me. I guess I should record Jenga. And so it's really just it's like a surrendered album.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That sounds kind of similar to how you made your set list for last night too, because as I walked over to you and introduced myself to you, you were working on your set list and you were just kind of plucking songs out of the air.
Yeah.
How did it work out? I think it worked out pretty good from the concert side, but
yeah, it was perfect, honestly. I'm like, oh, I wouldn't change a thing about that set. So
yeah, you brought us up, you brought us down, you brought us back up again.
Yeah.
It's always good to end on a high note, hence the name of the podcast.
Yeah. Yes, on a high note. Oh, and I have this new song that I call my punk rock song. And I had it planned if I had time for one more that I didn't get to play last night. So I'm like, ooh, I get 2 more performances. Maybe I get to do my punk rock song at one of these performances at the festival.
Yeah, are you performing with John Flynn? Did I see that for one of the In the Rounds? You're not
I don't
sure?
know.
Okay.
I hope so.
That's awesome. Yeah, so what is your songwriting process? Like you incorporate a lot of stories when you're on stage. Are you thinking of these stories, or how do you write a song? Is it the words first and then the melody comes, or tell me a little bit about that.
Well, every song is different, of course. I like to have one little musical nugget, like a riff that I like or a groove that I like, and then I'll improvise over it and then grab my phone and be like, oh, something I improvised is coming out good. And then I have a lot of song topics that are just waiting to be songs. Like, oh, that was a moment. That needs to be a song. Or, oh, that concept really needs to be a song. I really want to write a song about like the phrase I don't know being the supreme phrase, and have it be this like politically uniting song where it's like, what if like admitting I don't know was cool?
Yeah.
And like painting this world. So that's a song idea that's been living in my head for like a year already.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, when you figure out the riff, is that on the guitar?
Mostly.
Okay.
Sometimes on piano.
Okay, yeah, because you played both last night.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Did you start out playing piano? Did you start out playing guitar? How did you get started like writing music?
Yeah. I took piano lessons when I was a kid, and then I played a mean French horn.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. In elementary school and high school and college. And I started learning acoustic guitar in college, and that was when all the songs just flooded out.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I like that. Yeah. So, did you always have this kind of honesty on stage where you kind of tell stories and do songs, or when did that process develop for you?
That was there from the get-go. My very first show was a really exciting moment in my trajectory because I feel like the normal path that people take is, oh, I've been writing songs. I'm going to share them with a friend or at an open mic night. And I was in college and I just dreamed up like a full 90-minute show that my band director let me use the concert hall for.
Oh,
So my
nice.
very first public performance was like a full-length Shanna show to 60 plus people
Oh, wow.
who came, and it was in this gorgeous auditorium at my college, which was University of Virginia, and there's a baby grand piano that I could play, and there was a planned encore where I came out and did a rap. Like it was a whole thing, and the stories and the honesty was there from the start.
That's awesome. And have you always wanted to like perform? Because it's not just a singer-songwriter show. Like you really are putting on a performance. Was that always
Aw.
in you from a young age?
Yeah. Oh, what a good question. I don't feel like people have asked me that before. I feel like I had my moments. Like we have some family videos of me singing Five Little Monkeys jumping on the bed for the camera. And I feel like all kids must dream of like, I want to be a famous star or whatever from whatever you watch on TV. But I never had attention. Like I didn't do theater or anything super performative. So it's kind of cool that this performer self lives in me. I was definitely weird though. I was like weird and open, and the band kids liked me. So
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
I think weird is good for art. I think if you're not
It's so
weird, you're not going to
good.
make good art.
I think so too. What art do you make?
Well, I mean, the podcast is kind of art, and I'm also
Mhm.
a photographer. So I do music photography. I do sunrise photography. Yeah. Yeah.
Love
I
that.
do a little poetry on the side. It's been a little
Ooh.
rusty on that. You know, I used to do a haiku and a sunrise photo every day. So that's
I like that.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm really into every time I actually see it. I don't seek it out, but the spoken word artists
Oh, yeah.
are so cool to me. Like maybe that can be a thing that I explore when I move to St. Louis.
I know what you're talking about, but you are technically a spoken word artist because you are, you know, like it's hard to describe because it's not. Are these like bits that you have, or is everything just you just talking about the songs, or are these like rehearsed in any way, or you're like, oh, this is a good laugh line, I can bring this to a festival? Because it doesn't. It seems like everything is super spontaneous in the moment.
I mean, I definitely repeat my jokes, but I also, the funniest ones are always the random things that come out of my mouth in the moment.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but it's pretty, I mean, it's a guarantee that I'll make some horror jokes like almost every performance. And I would like to be able to, I really appreciate that you said what I do is similar to spoken word. I'm like, no, it's not. Spoken word is so much cooler. But it is, I don't know. It's all fun.
That's all that matters. Yeah, it seems like you're having a lot of fun up there.
So much fun. I almost feel guilty about the fact that this is my life. Like, I get paid to do something that's this fun and like self-expressed, and I just get to be myself, and and people laugh and clap and cry, cool, and sing with me. It's so fun.
Yeah, and that's the interesting part is you do bring people up and down. Did one start out? Did you start out more serious and then start to incorporate the humor, or were you always humorous and then we're like, all right, I got a more serious side, like you see with some actors?
Yeah, I feel like the funny songs come more naturally to me, and the switch came maybe 7 or 8 years ago when I wrote a song about my dad, and every time I played it, it just went straight to people's hearts, and then that opened up a can of worms. And there's a song called Shelly that I play in most of my set lists that really resonates with people, and one I'll probably play later in the festival is a song about dementia, and it just, like, watching people crack open is unlike anything else. I see why songwriters can get addicted to writing sad songs, because it is a really powerful tool to share, and ultimately all I care about is connection, right? So sometimes people call my show emotional whiplash, because they're like, I was laughing, now I'm crying, like, you jerk. And I just say, yeah, well, better than a song that makes you feel medium.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Shelly was a hard hitter last night. Yeah, that was definitely like very emotional.
Thanks. I'm glad people listened. It's a long song, and to be outdoors with all those distractions and to have people actually pay attention from beginning to end is amazing that they did. Yay.
Yeah, well, it's just a testament to your storytelling, because you really kind of lay out the whole song. I don't know, are there spoiler alerts in songs? Like, can we talk about it? Like,
yeah, we can talk about it.
Cool. Yeah, why don't you tell the story here as you did like on stage?
Yeah. Well, I used to live in Colorado, and I was a nanny for a long time, and I answered an ad on care.com for a woman named Shelly who was looking for an overnight caregiver. I go to meet her in Denver, and she's 37 years old, and I learned that when she was 17, she was in a car accident where she was driving, took a country dirt road to turn too sharp, got ejected out of the back windshield, and then the car rolled over her, and she somehow survived, but she was left paralyzed from the chest down as a 17-year-old. And, she played basketball, and she danced, and she dated, and, like, what a smack in the face to what your new reality is. So by the time I started helping her, she had been in that state for 20 years. And I did her makeup in the morning, and I, like, showered her and put her to bed, and, like, the amount of intimacy and trust in that relationship is so deep, and was such a monumental lesson in gratitude for myself, because we just go through our lives like hating our bodies and feeling like or dating so hard. And I'm like, but look at this girl. Like, I can't believe I ever complained that dating is hard when this is her life. And I knew I needed to write a song for her, and just wasn't sure what angle to take. And it wasn't until after she died that it all came together, and I was able to write and finish the song, and now it's one that people come up and mention to me every time I play it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's a great story, and then also the very emotional ending. Like, you really close it in a beautiful way, though. Like, you really take I don't know if you can make a positive spin on it, but I feel like it is like a positive. It's a very emotional song, but it does have an uplifting ending about a very serious topic.
Thanks. I think it would be very hard for me to write a song that didn't have an uplifting ending.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, you're a perfect guest for the high note.
It's just my worldview.
That's awesome. Now, did you have any inspiration growing up? Like, or do you have any artists that inspire you, either on the It doesn't have to be music. It can be comedy or anything.
Ooh, that's a good thought. So my show is very much informed by Ingrid Michaelson. She is so fun and real and funny in between her songs that just opened a world for me of, oh, this is what a show can be like?
Yeah.
I like that. So she's been huge as an influence. I'm a big Swiftie.
Nice.
So I've been facilitating these Swiftie songwriting challenges on the internet that are hosted online where, Taylor isn't even an influence to me as much in writing style as she is as a resilient artist. And I feel like she is the living, breathing model of, hey, you don't have to be the best singer or the best player to just write a ton of songs that connect with people. And that is really settling when you're comparing yourself to all the Nashville musicians who are around you who are way better at singing and playing and all the things. So just her work ethic and her ability to continue making art in the face of everything is a big role model for me. I wonder if there's any non-music people I could say. Like I'll simmer on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You had mentioned you rode your bike across the country. Have you always been a big cyclist, or was this just a crazy idea?
Oh, no. I just like doing big, crazy things, I think. But right after college, I did a group bike trip with a group called Bike and Build. And that was from the East Coast to the West Coast. And that's when I learned I could do it. So, a decade later, when I said, I want to do this and a music tour, I already had some proof I could do it physically under my belt. So you don't have to train for that, by the way.
Oh, really?
I didn't train for either one. I still did it.
That's awesome. And you started, and then this one you started on the West Coast, right? And went east?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, cool. Now, what was your setup like? Did you have your guitar on your back? Like, what was the whole situation?
That's what I want you to imagine so that I sound more hardcore. But
it's just more of a visual.
Yeah. I actually had a support van and, I had a sag wagon and a fan named Ken who very generously kind of tour manager / groupied for the majority of my tour de dress. And
that's awesome.
I knew I had an amp and stuff that I didn't want to have to bike over the Rockies with.
And somebody selling grilled cheese and LSD in the parking lot too, doing the whole thing,
Exactly.
Did you wear a dress? Did you wear a dress on
the whole time?
No, on the bike?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I had bike shorts under it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you got to be comfortable. But I mean, like, my friend Gia had took a tumble in a dress on her bike and like sprained her ankle terribly.
Oh, no.
I mean, it was after a few beers, but I mean, yeah.
Hey, that's a crucial detail.
Yes. Yeah. Most of my bike accident stories, either me or my friends, are after a couple of beers.
So are you a cyclist?
I ride around, yeah. I my thing is I get up early in the morning, I take pictures of the sunrise, and I just ride. I do 10 miles in the morning, so not drunk.
What a beautiful start to the day.
It's not bad.
I think everyone, sometimes I play this little game of if everyone did this one thing, the world could be happy and good.
Yeah.
And that I would add that to the list of if everyone just woke up and biked 10 miles, what a happier world we would live in.
And saw the sunrise. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's different every day.
Yeah. What are the things that you notice that differ from day to day?
So it depends on the environment. So if it's foggy or it's cloudy, you get more of a kind of like a filtered sun. So it's kind of it looks more orange or it'll look more circular. You kind of see more of the edges. And then the other cool thing is you actually see it. Because I'm in Atlantic City, so you actually see it move. So it the sun as the earth moves around the sun, the position of the sun moves in different positions when I take my photos. So some are like closer to the pier, some are through the pier, some are like behind the casinos. Like it just kind of, yeah.
I love that. That feeds into this theory that I have, which is if you ever think you're doing the same thing every day, then you're really not paying attention. Because if you're paying attention, every day is a little different, even if you're doing the exact same things and walking the exact same path and going to the same job. So I like hearing your description of how the sunrise is always different.
That sounds like a song.
I'll add it to my list of ideas.
Surfing has actually taught me that more than anything, is that, my friend, my buddy Mark, who I call my surf guru, he tells me that every wave is different. Like there's no way that you're going to catch the same wave ever again.
Wow.
It's all different every day, and every wave that comes in is different. So you can never look at each wave and say like, oh, this, that, because you're just, every wave you're technically learning, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Good. Add it to my list of metaphors.
Awesome. Well, Shanna, was there anything that I didn't ask before I ask you, that I should have asked before I ask you 3 final questions?
Ooh. What should you? You know what I was thinking about earlier today? It was, I'm so grateful for my job because I think it's made me a better person.
How so?
That's the question I would love to be asked, because exploring this concept is interesting to me. I feel like the constant travel and meeting new people is just the best life education in terms of empathy, like getting to know people and their stories and intimately see their circumstances. I get to stay in people's homes and be driven by these volunteers who have these fascinating lives. And I'm just so, like, the way a therapist must feel of like, wow, I get to see inside the facade. I'm like, I get to be in the hearts and homes of so many different types of people. And that has made me a better person. I have confidence that I can navigate any social situation because talking to strangers is my entire living, right? So there's a lot of people that suffer from social anxiety, and I'm just like, oh, it's just a skill. It's just a muscle. And when you build the muscle, the world is so much more interesting and exciting than when you're hiding. And I feel just like I feel kind of fearless because my whole life is here's a new circumstance and a new place and a new person. Can you enjoy it? And I already know I can. So the confidence that brings of like, I like it before it's even happened is just such a gift.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you seem like you really enjoy it. And you weren't lying when you said last night, if you see me walking around, come up, I'll give you a hug, come introduce yourself. Did you meet some cool people last night after your show?
I did. Yeah, they came up to the merch table and told me stories about their lives. That little girl who was dancing right in front, her name was Cecilia.
Oh, yes.
And we sang Cecilia.
I heard you mention that on stage. That's awesome.
Yeah.
They were the Swifties, right? They were dancing up front? Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
It was really cool.
Well, cool. Well, Shanna In A Dress, thank you so much. I have 3 final questions for you. Okay. What was your first album that you ever received or went out and bought?
It's an embarrassing answer. It was Britney Spears, Baby One More Time.
Wow, that's not embarrassing at all. That's a banger. That's a banger. That's great.
A banger.
Yeah, that video was everywhere.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Awesome. Do you remember going out and buying that, or did you get it?
I didn't. It was my brother's.
Oh, that's even better.
And so I was just like, what's this? And then I learned like every word to every song on it.
Yes. Yeah. My wife, Justina, is definitely right there with you with Baby One More Time. Yeah.
Good.
What was the first concert that you ever attended?
A Martina McBride concert with my mom. So she really liked that like pop country female artist thing. And so that was my only stadium show, really.
So was that in Virginia?
Yeah, it must have been.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Any special memories from that concert?
Not at all. Yeah, I don't really remember anything.
Wow. Do you remember how old you are when you went?
I bet I was 13.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So last question, what is your favorite score or soundtrack from a movie?
Ooh. Man, all of my answers are such teeny bopper answers, but the truth is I'm a teeny bopper.
We have an audience. I mean, this is
but I'm going to say A Walk to Remember with
wow.
Mandy Moore.
Yeah, totally.
There was like I don't know.
Didn't she write all the songs for that?
I don't know if she wrote them, but she sang like 2 or 3 of them that
Okay.
were really good. And the script had some songs on there. And I don't know. If you asked me again tomorrow, I would have a different answer. But that's
awesome.
what came in today.
I'd probably answer the same question differently too. Yeah. Yeah, like recently, like probably I would say like The Big Lebowski, just because I love that movie too, right? It's got a lot of great songs on there.
Totally. The first thing I thought of was Forrest Gump because that's
Oh,
my favorite movie.
Yeah.
But I'm like, actually, I don't know anything about the soundtrack. So that's not the right answer to this question.
I interviewed Shug Daniels last week and she said Garden State. And I was like, oh shit, that was a great soundtrack. So this is definitely a discovery process for me because after I talk to you, I go back and then check it out on Spotify, you know?
You try to like find your real answers. I like that you ask people these musical questions. I am obsessed with food, so I can imagine having the exact same podcast where I'm like, okay, but now you have, what was the best meal you've ever had? And okay, you can only have 3 foods, but 1 from each food group. What do you get? You know, and then I go back and I'm like, I need to have my answer ready so that I know the truth. As though it's so important.
So, Shanna, are you on tour right now? Where can people find you?
Yeah, if you go to shannainadress.com, I have all my shows listed. I'm headed to Minnesota and Wisconsin for the first time after this festival. And then I'm just ping-ponging all over the U.S. the way I usually am.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I look forward to hopefully seeing you soon. Hopefully I'll see you here at the festival. I'll definitely see you this week, but hopefully be many more years to come.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
I don't think anyone wants to hear about football/soccer.
Oh man, I'm stoked. I'm in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven in El Cajon, California. Man, these are great questions.
I think the answers are probably better.